Here we go.
Nole Nation, welcome into another episode of the Renegade Rundown. As always, I have my beautiful co-host along with me, Jen Santee, aka at Jen Santee 1890 on X or Jen Nole 2013. We have a very special guest with us this evening to talk some Florida State football and recruiting. Our guy Vince from Garnet and Old, or at VC Nole on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it. We appreciate you joining us. Of course, my name is George. You can find me at Renegade Report 1 on X. But man, we find ourselves, it's what, May 7th today? Yeah, May 7th, just kind of really in the dead of the off season. Not a ton going on. I was kind of wondering what we're going to really talk about on this show. Had a few podcasts talking smack that maybe we could go look at. Besides that, not a ton to report. And then all of a sudden, this afternoon, we get us a flurry of activity. So really excited to talk about the kind of moves in the transfer portal, the things we hear on the high school side of things, everything kind of happening right now. I guess we can start with a defensive back who last year left us. We kind of had a flurry of exits from the transfer portal of guys who were good guys that played a ton of snaps. They were kind of a part of the early part of Mike Norvell's tenure and the climb. They had just kind of gotten passed up. A guy like Derek McClendon, who probably wasn't going to start, and a Marion Cooper, who had started earlier in his career, possibly was, okay, you can move to safety and possibly win a starting spot. Well, I'm going to go somewhere where I can start at corner. And he did that. He headed out to Colorado. He did the thing out there with the Buffaloes with prime time. Well, we just found out this afternoon he makes it public. Boom. He's coming back. He has committed back to the climb. 1 year in Colorado. He's coming back to be a Seminole. And we were discussing off air, kind of our thoughts on whether he's going to be a walk-on, preferred walk-on by NIL in this kind of day and age and how it, works out. Before I get too deep into it, though, I want to give you all a chance. What's the first kind of reactions, emotional response when you see a Marion Cooper coming back to the Seminoles?
Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, you want me to start this one? Okay. I would wonder if he wanted some health insurance. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But, I think obviously Colorado is not very well run. I think this is not a surprise. I think the pastures were not as green as they were promised over there. Maybe the IOUs work for the coaching staff, but it doesn't really work for kids who are promised it. So I'm not surprised. The only thing that surprises me about this is that it took him this long. That's it. That's the only surprise.
Yeah, I would say that I was kind of I want to say bummed, but it kind of threw me a little bit when he left. His first year was pretty promising, and then his second year he was hurt. Right. And I think that kind of derailed him a little bit. Some guys maybe passed him up or whatever. But I thought that he had everything in front of him. And then he, for whatever reason, money, going to play for Dion, whatever the reason is, it's not, the grass is not greener. The money's not greener, whatever the reason. The thing that gets me, though, is when you leave a program, especially Florida State, you better leave in the right way. And there is no doubt he left in the right way, because there's no way this staff would have let him come back if he didn't leave in the right way, whatever that means to them, right? But I do agree with you, George. I doubt that this is a scholarship. I'm pretty sure it is NIL money, and they don't have to use a scholarship. He's too late in his career, I believe, and probably safety, I would think.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and kind of what I was hinting at when I got to the specifics. I get called out on this sometimes. It's hard to remember when you go back all the different DBs, all the years. But somebody call me out if I'm wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, his sophomore year, like you said, he was a little beat up, and they were looking at possibly moving him to safety for 2023 because we needed help there. That was a big conversation in the offseason last year, is that we needed help at safety. Kevin Noles ends up being the guy that moves up over there. And if we're being 100% honest, that wasn't the best move for Kevin Noles' career. It's what Florida State needed. It was his opportunity to get on the field last year. But if Amarion Cooper didn't want to do that, he wanted to go somewhere to start. I think that's how it was intimated to Mike Norvell, just that he wants a chance to, really compete. It's his junior year. There's only so many years. So, yeah, I do believe that's how he left and why he's able to come back. But very interested, as he brought it up. Is he willing to play safety now? Is that what he's coming back to play safety? Or is he coming back to just compete and get what snaps he can at corner? The interesting part you touched on that I want your opinion on, and Jen too, if she wants to chime in. You spoke about possibly being an NIL guy because it's a senior year. When I think about that, I think, okay, you come on as a preferred walk-on. Maybe they take care of your scholarship through NIL plus a little extra.
Right.
Well, what if they do something with him like they did with Keziah Holmes? He's not coming off a big injury, but here comes Keziah Holmes out of Penn State. He's whatever preferred walk-on transfer for 1 year. He's scout team, whatever. We don't see him on the field, and he can get a redshirt year. Next thing you know, in 2025, chances are we're losing Azaria Thomas, Fentrell Cypress, Shyheim Brown. A lot of these guys are going to be gone after this year. He could really have an opportunity to make an impact at corner. You think? I know that's I'm not saying I have any source that said anything, but just looking at the tea leaves and kind of the depth there, like we didn't need a corner. That was the last thing anybody was expecting to come out of the transfer portal. But it just so happens this is one of those guys. If you can take him and not take a scholarship, hell yeah.
I mean, at a minimum, he's been in the program. He knows how the program is run. He knows he's going to have to work his butt off. So at a minimum, you've got a veteran guy that knows how things are run that can push the room. So at a minimum, I provided his attitude is good, which I can't imagine it's not. Otherwise, they wouldn't let him back in. It's a no-brainer, except if they utilized a scholarship on him. Then I'm like, okay, they know something I don't, which of course they do.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. But yeah, no, I agree. I think the walk-on's the way. I'm just curious why he would come back. Like I don't. There's nothing telling him, okay, I've got a better chance to start this year. And if he were to play this year, that's it. This is his 4th year of eligibility. He came in 2021, so I don't think there's a COVID year there, if I'm not mistaken. So it makes me wonder the reason, if he came to Florida State and didn't go to a smaller place or a lateral move for Colorado, he just may be open to a redshirt year, but we'll see. Maybe he comes in and just provides depth, or maybe he steps up and steals a spot and ends up being drafted. Either way, that defensive back unit this year is going to be unreal. What Patrick Surtain's done in such a small kind of period of time is really unreal. We also got an offer out to a guy from Pensacola, kid named Ladarion Clarity, out of the Pensacola class. He's a little under 6 foot, but just an absolute freak of an athlete all over the field at the high school level. I believe he's a 4-star right now, but I think he has a good shot of reaching 5-star status before it's all over. And there's just not a ton of, super long and lengthy guys, in this defensive class compared to last year with Charles Lester and all the guys. So his kind of athleticism is he's just kind of that next level athlete. Pretty surprising. I was worried he may not get that offer just because of Patrick Surtain wanting those super tall guys. So shout out to the kid from Pensacola getting the Florida State offer and Ladarion Clarity. I was really cool to see that. He's also a number 13. Just like Omarion Cooper was when he was at Florida State.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been tracking him too much. I don't know much about him, but he's from your home area, right? So you probably have a lot more knowledge about him. But Surtain, he's warranted me trusting who he's going to offer, right? So that is enough for me. We have some other news today too, right? It was offensive line stuff.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Well, I don't know if it was today necessarily.
Or was it yesterday, maybe?
Yesterday, we got the trending for the 5-star offensive lineman, Josh Petty, if that was what you're alluding to.
Yeah.
Have you spent much time looking at him?
Yeah, the days run together for me. I apologize about that.
Oh no, man, it's
yeah.
fresh enough. We didn't have a show yesterday, so we're good.
So, I think, with all the hand wringing that goes on in social media, when, the classes aren't shaping up the way us non-coaches think they should, sometimes you just got to wait. You got to be patient. You got to be patient Padawans, right? And Alex Atkins has got a plan. And again, I go back to it, they have a plan. They do not lose out on recruits because they're not working. They may lose out for other reasons, but not because they do not have a plan. And with Solomon Thomas in the fray already, and now Petty, man, it's looking really, really good.
Oh yeah, and I see the chat, you guys. The chat's already salivating over Cam Riley, the linebacker out of the portal. Promise you, we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Everybody file in here.
Yeah,
This is a really big one for me. I've been wanting this linebacker, so I'm hoping for this commitment to happen any day now. And I think it's really kind of the final check mark, kind of like whatever the infinity stone in that FSU defense, adding an experienced linebacker. So we are getting there. But as we talk about the offensive line, as he said, we've already got Solomon Thomas locked in. He's the #1 interior offensive lineman in the nation, 5-star across the board. Well, Josh Petty, some places have him as a tackle because he plays tackle in high school. But On3, I believe, has him projected as the #2 interior offensive lineman in the nation. And he is now projected to Florida State. So if you look at that, if it follows through, if you can land Josh Petty, if you can land Solomon Thomas, also another guy, Peyton Joseph, who's a borderline, he's a 4-star interior offensive lineman. Recently, yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, he's posted up. He's got a chain, like a blinged out chain with a Florida State helmet. So take that for what you want. He was on Florida State's campus for a multi-day visit right before he decommits from Florida. He's got the chain. Everything you hear from out of him is just adamant praise for Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins and everything we're doing. So basically 3 5-stars right there. If Peyton Joseph can make it there, but absolutely 2 consensus 5-stars if you can get those 3 together. Another guy on the offensive tackle, and Zaire Addison, is somebody that I've been saying for a long time. Just it seems like he's going to end up at Florida State. He's taken a lot of visits. He's talked to a lot of schools, but at the end of the day, when I hear him talk, it would shock me if he went anywhere but there. So bam, there's 4 blue chip, legit 5-stars, borderline 4-star type guys at offensive line for your class. And then you look down the list of #5 and #6, there's a guy like Max Buchanan, who some folks think is the best one out of the group. He's just lower in the rankings. I'm not sure if I think he's still a 4-star, just not quite as high as some of those others. But you're talking about bringing in 5 or 6 like really, really high level offensive linemen in this class and hammering those projections that we've been saying for the past 2 years. Like, just calm down. It's all about wide receivers and DBs last year. This year, 2025, it's going to be all about the trenches. And there's going to be just a changing of the guard when it comes, especially offensive line recruiting. If you can follow that up with, all this momentum we have, all the guys are probably going to get to commit in June with some projected guys to the NFL from the play we see this season, with all the rushing touchdowns and the rushing yards and play action we're going to be able to have this year. It should be a really great year at offensive line. And I know I went on a bit of a rant there, but if there's anybody else that you have on your mind as far as offensive line, high schoolers, or just anything on it, feel free, either one of y'all, to take off and do your rant for sure.
I just think one of the comments in the chat there was about people being upset because they have not seen, some of the younger guys play too much yet. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You don't want just because 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago we had to play true freshmen on the line. That's not good. Like you don't want to be doing that. The fact that we've had to wait this long to really see, you name it, Lamont Green, or who's the other guy? Gosh, I can't remember their names.
On defensive line?
No, offensive line.
Well, you got Armella, you got Bryson Estes,
Armella is what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we haven't seen him, that's not a bad thing. That's actually probably a good thing. That means they haven't had to press him into action before he's ready. If you're a running back or if you're a wide receiver or something like that, you can see the field early because there's not as much bulking up as you need to do on your body. So I would be happy. I'm happy that Armella isn't a household name yet.
Yeah, look, those guys, like the couple guys that LSU got that are able to come in and start as true freshmen, they're so extremely rare. And yes, it would be nice to stock up on them. And like if you're going to have an offensive lineman to start as a true freshman or a true sophomore, it's got to be one of those guys. And there's only a handful of them every year. That doesn't mean that's the only way to get elite O-line play.
Sure.
Darius Washington, what he's going to be for us this year, I would take that all day over what those LSU guys were as true freshmen. Maybe not as what they are now as juniors, but those are few and far between. When you look at the offensive line this year, when it comes to Julian Armella, Bryson Estes, all these guys, I totally agree. They weren't guys that should go out on the field. Okay, were they to the level? Were some of these to the level if it was 2020 or 2021, if they were in a spot Robert Scott was in, that maybe, they would have got thrown out there. Maybe they would have been all right. But was it the best thing in the world for Robert Scott's career that he had to go start at left tackle as a true freshman for the Florida State Seminoles? Probably not. And, looking here going into year 4 or 5, he's come inside at guard. I was talking to a guy at 247 earlier about this, like this offensive lineman, like what I'm so excited about is just kind of the depth and the fact that everybody came back and you're really able to see that development come through. Darius Washington being able to just check off that spot at left tackle, it just changes the game so much. All of a sudden, Robert Scott is in there fighting for one of those guard spots. You bring in Riley Leonard, it's going to be hard for Leonard not to lock down one of those spots. So, man, there's 2 spots. Maury Smith, we know what he is. He's coming back healthier. He's going to be a year older, a year better. And that leaves you with 2 spots. Okay, Byers looking like the leader in the clubhouse. Like he's, again, another year that much better. So that final guard spot, the competition for that thing, Bryson Estes, Robert Scott, just all the way down the line, Ferguson, Keandre Jones, like it's going to be nuts. So really going to be interesting to see. And when you're going to be able to bring out a second offensive line, like when they start rotating in the run game and you bring in guards, like they go 3 deep of guards where they're going to be able to bring them in there and just mash in the run game and not get tired. And especially Richie Leonard on those, G counter plays that they like to run. He's going to be an absolute beast for that. But yeah, I couldn't be any more stoked for the offensive lineman. I know we can get to we can get into linebacker as the people salivate for it, but Jen has been quiet. We can give you if there's anything you want to get to before we go.
Oh no, I mean, I think you guys hit everything. I love the offensive line stuff that's going on, obviously. And I'm enjoying the fact that the coaches are right. The coaches have been right. I don't know why certain people want to continue to bash them. Going 13-0 was actually kind of a nice thing to do, right? They kind of know what they're doing, and you know what? I'm good with it. And I'm happy with it. So that's all I can say.
It's like, let's read T. Smiley's comment here. She says, FSU brought in a few NFL O-line guys, I believe, last season to talk about how they weren't taking many snaps before year 3, wanting the younger guys to understand protecting and developing. Well, I guess I misread that, but no, I agree with the sentiment there. Lucas Simmons, that's another one we didn't bring up. That's not a guy you want to force on the field. He's got all the talent and upside in the world of one of those top guys, a guy that can project to a first rounder. But let's take our time, get him ready. When he can get out there, he'll get out there. But people need to look at this offensive line group and really realize, like we saw the wide receivers just explode last year to another level with Keon and Johnny. Like that's where we're at on this offensive line. It's going to be a real lot. Like the defensive line was what it was all about last year, and just deeper than anybody's wildest imagination. That's where the offensive line is. It's going to be for the run game, the play action pass game. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to blow everybody's expectations out, and you heard it here first. But anyway, Cam Riley, we got to get to this guy. Everybody's excited. I'm fucking pumped up. When you look at the defense, we've gone on ad nauseum. We would like to get a defensive tackle in here, and we're looking at a couple of those. The kid Gavin Meyer from Wyoming, I believe they're looking at. Also, Javier Suggs, a D2 guy. So a couple depth pieces that are looking at a defensive tackle. Like, that's kind of a want. It would be nice to have somebody to compete for that 4th and 5th tackle spot. But defensive back, we're good. We said it was a big surprise we got Omar Cooper. We're good there. Defensive line's already been addressed. We brought in 4 guys: Marvin Jones Jr., Tommy Wadurajaye, Siona Lolohea, and Grady Kelly. So there's 4 guys you've already brought in. So we're good there. Linebacker. That's it. That's the real unproven spot. Last year, DJ Lundy was your 3rd guy. He was one hell of a good guy, 3rd guy, and a damn good one. But you had 2 seniors starting at linebacker. In this 4-2-5, linebacker isn't, it's not the first position. It is what it is. You've only got 2 of them on the field, and it's been devalued by the league, things like that. But at the end of the day, you've got 11 players on the field, and you're only as good as your weakest one. Like, you have to have good players in the middle. And I think what Kalen DeLoach and Tatum Bethune provided for this defense over the last 2 years, has been extremely kind of underrated. I don't think just how them being in the right spots and like the plays made against Clemson from DeLoach and the different things in coverage, like, really tightened up what this unit could do. So again, Lundy stepping into a starting role, I was good with that. But then you bring Sean Murphy from Alabama, who's got all the talent in the world, but just not a ton of experience, hasn't been in that starting role. So you worry about somebody kind of learning on the fly, even with all the talent. You've got a true sophomore in Juice that, again, looks great in spring talent, all this stuff, but he has not started at a Division I level. Omar Graham Jr., I've heard great things. He's done a lot in camp, yada, yada, same thing. Blake Nicholson, he's one of these young guys I don't want to see the field too early. I want him to be brought along at the right speed. And again, heard great things from him out of camp. But to bring in Cam Riley, if this trending can come true, if we can bring in Cam Riley for this defense, to me, it's like it's the final infinity stone, and I can just breathe a sigh of relief. And if it's DJ Lundy and Cam Riley, or DJ Lundy and Sean Murphy, or Juice Cryer, whoever it is, I feel good that we have enough bodies at linebacker. If somebody goes down, it's not going to be the end of the world. We've got 3-4 guys that somebody out of them is going to step up. I have 100% faith. And the talent in the room, I mean, it's worlds away from where it was. But anyways, I don't want to talk about linebacker all day, but what does it mean to you guys? How excited are y'all to see Cam Riley now trending to the Noles after decommitting from NC State?
I mean, I love it because we lost a lot of known experience and trust, right? And DJ Lundy can fill one of those spots. He's played a lot, but who else in the room has had the snaps, where you can put him out there and it may not be world beaters, but you can trust that they're going to be in the right place at the right time. You can trust that they're going to know the call. So we need that kind of veteran presence more in that group. I have all the faith that the younger guys have the ability, but again, linebacker is another one of those spots where, you typically don't plug and play someone right out of high school, to play at a Division I level at a place like Florida State. It's just, that's, super ultimately rare. So again, in the patience realm, I'm patient. I'm looking forward to what Blake can do. I'm looking forward to what Cryer can do. And I think with having Cam Riley come in, hopefully, we'll be able to pepper these guys in a little bit at a time throughout the season and really solidify what they've been learning.
I agree 100%. Jen?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not surprised Cam Riley decommitted from NC State. I'm excited that this kid actually saw the light and didn't want to play for Dave Doreen and zero, trophies and everything that they have going on. That's awesome. I don't blame him. Go get that money, get yourself at a real program, dude. Like, that's what you got to do. I'm excited about it. Welcome to the fold if it happens. And, I do agree. I know everybody's freaking out on linebacker. I know that was a hot button issue. But when DJ Lunding leaving, I agree with you guys. That was a surprise to me. I thought he would be a starter. I didn't see that one coming, and then he came back, so all's good, right? We're all good. Yeah, if he commits, which I guess we're thinking he is, we're reading the tea leaves. We're not saying that we know. We're just saying that it's possible, I guess. Is that what we're going with that? But
It's
Trending, yeah. Trending.
Yeah.
I predicted it a long time ago, but it
Yes,
came
you
out
did.
on three
You did.
people have reported that he is now trending to Florida
Yes.
State. It's like a crystal ball, but it's called trending.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so excited about that. All the linebackers, let's just look. I think the coaching staff proves they know what they're doing. Like, let's let them do what they do. They didn't go 13-0 on accident. It wasn't something that was a fluke. That's a hard thing to do. So, guys, I'm so looking forward to this season. I can't stand it. Like, I can't wait.
I can't wait too. And for the naysayers that are out there, and there are some in our own fan base.
It's not in our fan base.
There is, think about where we were 5 years ago. You cannot turn every position group around in a singular season. It has been literally a steady climb, a steady build in every one of the rooms. Can you be a little disappointed that, a particular recruit that you liked, that you really wanted to get, didn't commit to Florida State? Sure, of course, because you're a fan and you're supposed to do that. But overall, if you go position group by position group and look at how each one of those groups has gotten exponentially better every season, there is no way to be anything other than optimistic. And also, if you're not going to be optimistic, at least be happy you're not a fan of another school in Florida, because it could be really bad for you right now.
Pure delusion going on over there. There's no doubt about it. You're right. A couple years ago, before we grabbed Tatum Bethune out of the portal, we were looking at starting a true sophomore, Stephen Dix, who's long hit the portal, and like a true freshman or sophomore, DJ Lundy at that time. Like, we were playing, if we had the time to really go compare the entire roster year by year, you're 100% right. You can't do it all once. They've slowly but surely kind of went through there. But there's this idea that somehow the cupboard is bare, or Florida State did a 1-year job on this stuff. It's driving me nuts. I'm going to have to play it. There's a guy on one of these Miami shows.
Oh, boy.
Cam from the Voice of College Football. And it's like, all the stuff, people say that, we are just always thinking about Miami. Nobody really says this stuff. Y'all are just making it up. But, I mean, he went on about a good 5-minute tear there of just hitting all the stereotypical marks. So, Florida State, anybody can build up for a 1 year. And, when you're doing a mercenary situation like they've got at Florida State and Colorado, this is what happens. Well, look, if people think that, they really want to believe that, that's just fine with them. And his evidence was bringing up guys like Jordan Travis and Trey Benson. It's like, what does it matter if they're a transfer or a high school kid if they're on your campus for 4 years and you develop them? This hang up that people have and wanting to and the craziest thing is, his squad has taken more transfers than us the last 3 years. I know I'm not trying to go off on this tangent, but go ahead.
Well, it's frustrating in a way, but I'm not shocked by it. Like, every day when I wake up, because I have to check social media, because it's kind of what we all do. I check it, and there's just some nonsense going on about the portal and how Florida State uses the portal in quote unquote the wrong way, and other schools use it in the right way. But what it really comes down to is, are you winning games? And if you're winning games, you must be doing something right. If you're winning games and you have guys that leave your school and want to come back because the culture is so great, you must be doing something right. It's just a lack of self-awareness. And I get it. I think that if social media was as prevalent as it is now, back when we were going through the lost decade, I think I would have been grasping at straws too, but but they're in a bad place right now. And they continuously tell on themselves for the type of fan base they are. There are very few Miami fans I know, but there are some that are rational and realistic, and I can actually hold a conversation with them because they understand that it's not so extreme. But there are not many of them.
Shout out to the realistic Kane fan. Our
Real.
buddy. We do have one in our chat. He is the absolute man, so we always appreciate him. But it's driving me nuts. I wasn't going to play this, but I got to just so you can understand, because this is something I talk about a lot. But Mark had the nerve to put this on the FSU Voice of College Football channel, not the Miami one. So it's free game. So Mark or Cam Underwood, y'all are more than welcome to come on. So Cam, to defend yourself or whatever. But I had to play this because it's like,
I can guarantee you Cam ain't going to defend himself.
But here we go.
Miami always lives in the heads of FSU fans.
Really?
FSU and Florida fans swear that they know more about the University of Miami athletic department and football program than anybody. Like, they just have so much to say. And especially, like, I didn't bring it up earlier in the transfer portal, like, conversation, but, like, I love how they're sycophants and people are trying to say, like, oh, like, Miami is completely, like, they're just doing what Florida State did. And everybody said, oh, that was so terrible. And I'm like, by looking into the portal and, like, going and getting, like, what was there to be gotten. Miami's had, like, top 8 classes the last 3 years. Like, that's the foundation of the roster.
All right, so I just got to stop.
Most of them transferred out.
All of them.
Ding, ding, ding.
Most of them transferred out.
So
how is that 2022 class looking? How is it? Are any of them on the field? Any of them? I'm
glad we're all on the same wavelength here.
I mean, they're so delusional. It makes me almost feel like I'm taking crazy pills when I hear them. When they continuously talk about the portal and the portal this and the portal that. Those MFers have been celebrating all their loser portal editions for the last 2 weeks, celebrating this, that, and the other thing. We're like beating the crap out of Florida State. Now we're beating them in the portal. I mean, I know math is hard, and I know none of you guys actually graduated from the University of Miami, which is actually a very good school. I know that you guys didn't because math is not your best subject, obviously, and people that graduate from Miami are usually pretty good at math. So 16 is not better than 6. In case anybody needed to know, 16 is actually a higher number than 6. I'm just saying, the delulu of that fan base is so bad. I just don't have the words. I don't have the words. And so I'm going to scream about it. That's what I'm going to do.
Eventually, Florida State is going to lose to Miami again because the law of averages is going to catch up. But it's going to have nothing to do with what they're doing. It's going to be the law of averages that catch up, right? We're not going to continue to hit year after year after year after year. And they're going to strike some gold at some point. It's just going to happen. Some of our best teams got beaten by them, right? But for this upcoming season, for that fan base to think they're going to be anything other than marginally better than they were is really, really a leap of faith. And I love fandom. But it's a real big leap.
I get it, but it's, as far as what he's saying, it's just so funny to hear it come out of both sides of the mouth. And that's why I want to start it there. I'm about to start it back up. But when he says we've had top 8 classes the past 3 years, and he's about to talk shit about, Florida State bringing in Jordan Travis freaking 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, top 8 classes the past 3 years. You both called it out. 22's all gone. All the top players are gone. And now 23. The best players from 23 are slowly but surely hitting the door. And not only high schools, but transfer guys that come in. So we pick up there, as he says, they've had the top 8. All 3 of his classes have been top 8.
And then we've gone and filled in some gaps.
Filled in some gaps. That's all they've done.
That's just Florida State team.
So just to stop him right there, because they just filled in some gaps. Mario Cristobal has signed 42 transfers to Florida State's now 42. now that we bring in Marion Cooper. So the past 3 years, same exact number of incoming transfers.
They're just
So,
mad
but
their
they only
transfers
fill
suck. That's what the problem is. They're mad their transfers
Jordan
suck.
Travis, who, if you remember, was at Louisville first. So everybody's like, oh, no, he's been here since
2019.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time after he transferred pre-pandemic, right? So even he was a transfer, right? And yes, like quarterback is the most visible position on the roster. And like, yeah, we went out and got a guy who was an incarnate word and, then Washington State. But like the foundation of this roster has been the high school recruiting and development. And then you fill in
the core of this team has been high school recruiting and development, he says, for Miami. I'll let y'all go first. I'm going to take first on this one. High school development has been the core of building this team. So let's just try to think about the core of this team. Cam Ward, quarterback. Okay, let's think. Who's their running back? Well, some Martinez from Oregon State. Okay, so there you got as he was just saying, the quarterback is the but saying throwing butt out at the same time. Quarterback, face your team, transfer. Running back, transfer. On down the line, they're so excited. Their defensive tackle that's going to start, transfer. On down the line, and y'all can pick it up. Any more transfers y'all can think of off your top of your head? Because I promise you right now that I've heard anywhere from 11 to 15 starters for them as transfers.
That's what I've heard, and I don't pay attention enough to the names that they brought in. But I will say that my brain hurts after listening to that. My brain hurts because it is again self-awareness, yes, but it's also just a lack of adherence to logic. It's like once you root for a team that is a bitter rival of the team that's doing well, like you're going to look for, you're not going to be able to equate the two things, even though both those staffs know what needs to be done. So you cannot say that going in the portal hard was the right thing to do for Miami at the right time, but it wasn't the right thing for Florida State to do because they're your rival. It's just, that's the part when rival fans start to spout off things like that just don't make any sense at all. I just have to pretty much leave that thread.
Well, what I would say to that and everything I just heard is from the legendary, iconic Oscar, should have been an Oscar-winning movie, which is Billy Madison.
Jen.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, you got the demon. It's probably my fault because I had to jump back out and jump back in. StreamYard has been acting a little dumpy, but while she jumps back in, we'll play a little bit more of that, and then she can pick up right where she left off when she gets back in. We know she won't be able to hear it, so I guess we won't do that. We'll just let her jump back in. But yeah, this guy, and I'm
just watching the chat here. It's pretty funny stuff.
I'm going to play about 2 more minutes of it, and then we'll get back to other stuff. But I'm sorry, Vince. We went at the same time there.
No, I was just saying, I'm reading the chat here. It's some funny stuff.
I haven't been able to keep up with it. I need to be pushing them up there. All right, we got Jen back.
Okay, so what I was going to say is I was thinking of the legendary, should have been an Oscar-winning movie, which is Billy Madison. After I heard that was, we are all now dumber for hearing everything that you just said. This was absolutely the worst, most incoherent sentence I've ever heard in my life, right? We now are all dumber for everything that idiot just said. And I'm going to call him an idiot because that's what it is. Okay.
Well, save some because there's a lot more of it left. So just kind of.
Wait, there's more?
I agree.
What? There's more?
We only played it like 30 seconds of it. So we're trying to get to the rest of it. Just saving some ammunition, but we'll get on the specifics. But no, but let them surprise you some more.
Recruiting and development. And then you fill in the gaps from there. Excuse me, the paradigm is not the same. But let the liquor tell it. FSU fans, oh, well, they're just doing what we did. Absolutely not. because y'all are not recruiting high school the same way. You're not developing from high school nearly at all the same way, right?
Not nearly all the same
but,
way.
you know, they're just
Y'all be
tripping about
thinking of those high school Miami
really,
guys that have been developed. Oh wait,
whatever. But yeah, I mean, but if you just look at that entire team from last year, bro, like
Bro,
Keon Coleman,
he's broing him.
what's up, Michigan State? Johnny Wilson, I forget where he was. Arizona State.
Arizona State
You know what I mean?
developed
Like,
Johnny Wilson.
Jaheim Bell, South Carolina.
That one's a thing.
Jordan Travis.
Again, for the third
running
time.
back who? Trey Benson, exactly. Who was recruited by whom at high school? Mario Cristobal, and was where? Or like, I mean, if you just go up and down the roster,
credit for
also
Trey Benson.
Jared Verse.
That's enough. We can get. I'll cut it up. We can get more into it on the roast, and we'll see if they see any of this to respond. But yeah,
we're
I just
definitely
wanted
gonna do
put
that.
out there that this shit does not come in a vacuum. Like, I'm not out here hollering the truth about these recruiting things and what's going on in the portal. Like, this is legitimate media out here saying this stuff, whether it's Gabby Urethra or, you know, Cam Underwood with our friend Mark Rogers over there. It's like, it's crazy. It's either pure propaganda or just pure hopes and dreams. And then meanwhile, you've got FSU fans crying in the streets because over, you know, high school recruiting rankings and stuff. And that's what I said the last time we had one of these big blow-ups on the timeline. Just go be a Miami fan. But I feel like I'm forgetting. I guess we could talk the court stuff a little bit, unless go ahead. If there's any more Miami ranting you want to do, Jen or Vince, we can get that off our chest before we move forward.
No, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is Miami does this whole coping mechanism because their transfers have sucked. Their transfers have sucked. So they want to point out the transfer Florida State has gotten, even though we've all gotten the same amount. Just one team wins, which, hey, guys, if you bring in a bunch of transfers or recruits or whatever you want to call them, and then they win, that's called development. I don't know which way you want to look at it, but that's actually called development. Johnny Wilson thought he was going to quit football because nobody else wanted him. Okay. We saw that interview. We've seen his story. We knew exactly what he was doing. Do you think he wasn't developed at Florida State? I'm sorry, Miami, that your transfers can't win you games and don't know how to kneel a ball. That's not our fault. That's your fault. I don't know what else to say. Miami sucks. Mario Cristobal needs a bra, and let's move on. That's what I say.
I love it. Vince, you was talking about earlier before we get into too deep. The kind of idea is that the court case, we finally got our first, the order from Cooper. After the first appearance, when he ruled on the motion to stay in Florida State's favor, that's what we finally got our hands on, the documentation there and just his wording and his ruling. Now, just to be clear, this is previous to the motion to dismiss, which happened later when we were going to go forward. Now Florida State's going to amend, its complaint. This is the very first ruling on the motion to stay. But yeah, anything that stood out there from his wording, I know he really he sticks it to the ACC every chance he can get. And, despite the, motion to dismiss and come back and Florida State approach this thing, kind of the bias, if there's any, it definitely felt like it's the Noles way the whole way to me in reading it.
Yeah, and it is a lot to take in. Luckily, I had Doug Rohan's Twitter thread to follow where he broke it down section by section and was able to kind of spell it out. But you're right. Like this is the order from the previous court date, not from the one that just happened where Florida State's got to refile. So it took a little while for this to show up. But yeah, so the judge not only gave it to the ACC quite a bit, but also had some things in there that Judge Bledsoe should have been taking into account as well. I mean, he didn't say those words, but that's kind of what he was getting at. Is like, this should have happened, in order to avoid having to go to appeal on Bledsoe not asking the ACC to refile. So, and you can go to real detail on this, but I'm not going to be able to spill it as well as Doug does. But if you're not following Doug, you should. I'm pretty sure everybody on your show follows Doug.
For
but,
sure.
But
At
he's got a
Rohan Law
thread.
PC.
Yeah, at Rohan Law PC. He got a thread that he posted at 3:30 today, and he just goes through each chunk.
Absolutely. Yeah, he really does a good job on that for sure. Dan, was there anything that, in particular on your mind as pertains to the court case before I read a little bit and kind of nerd out with it, give them a little bit of an idea of what's going on?
No, I mean, we can read into it and then I'll give my take afterwards. But I think Judge Cooper is definitely going to be a problem for the ACC. That's where I read it, and that's what I'll say before you get into the details. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It was really funny because, again, the reason that Florida State, even when they granted the motion to dismiss, it was like you had to Florida State's lawyers had to force him to do it because he's like, look, if you would just change this, if you would just word this a little different, if you would just say this is what it is, we'll be good. But Florida State's, lawyer, he was like, look, Mr. Rush said, we're not going to do that. If you want us to adjust it, we need to go back and readjust it and refile it. So that's where we're at there. But kind of the tone and kind of when it comes to sovereign immunity and all the different things that we talk about, he's taking shots at the ACC and saying, how dare you, this and that. It's really just the opposite of North Carolina. And here's one, and I'll just go ahead and read Rohan's tweet since he's the one that screenshotted the complaint for me to read it anyways. He says, boom, Judge Cooper fires a shot directly across the bow of Judge Bledsoe, citing to a new North Carolina case specifically to address some of the points Judge Bledsoe made in his hearing. If the plaintiff in the declaratory suit was on notice at the time of the filing that the defendant was planning to file suit, a court should look beyond the filing dates to determine whether the declaratory suit is merely a strategic maneuver to achieve a preferable forum. Basically, calling them out for allowing them to, race to the courthouse and just, have a bullshit answer and then come back on it. But again, there's not a ton law here, or not law, a ton new here, but over and over again, to take shots at him. Another one, it says, President Ryan talking about the UVA president's declaration describes circumstances very similar to some of the factual scenarios set forth in the case of describing other examples of anticipatory filings above. On balance, I find the record evidence in this proceeding, including the complaints and the judicially noticed matters, show a virtual classic case of anticipatory filing. So basically, like in so many words and so many different paragraphs in so many ways, Judge Cooper has said it's bullshit that Bledsoe ruled that it wasn't a race to the courthouse, wasn't anticipatory filing, and just like kind of we've all said, it was all obvious, grandstanding by the ACC. So really can't wait for this thing to come together and for us to get on the road. But being that this just hit officially, just hit the books, who knows how long it is before we get that amended filing, because we still got to get the ruling on the motion to dismiss and a lot of things to come through until we finally get that amended ruling. But I think the overall answer and the biggest thing we found out here is that this thing is slow and go. It's going to take a long time. That's August 15th date that we were thinking maybe this thing would be taken care of and we'd have it done by then. I think there's absolutely zero chance that comes as far as the courts. The only way that happens is somehow between here and now, there's a settlement that happens where these guys go to the table. But as far as the courts, yeah, slow and go. It's tick, 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 tick. Time just keeps flying by. And our hope for it being a speedy trial in Florida, unfortunately, seems like for the bigwigs, it's the same as it is for us little folks, because wow, kind of aggravating how slow it's gone with the paperwork going through, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, the only thing that makes this faster is the settlement. The case dragging on and on was never not going to happen. So, if this thing is going to play out till the bitter end, we're looking at years of that.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I know you don't believe this, Jen. I know you don't believe this. I know Doug for sure doesn't believe this, that it's going to get to that point, which is why he's been so adamant about, we're going to know something before or after the August 15th date and before we go overseas, right? So we're going to hear something, and I still believe that to be true as well. So that is not the case being done. That is a settlement happening. This stuff does take a long time, and the theater of it all is what is so intriguing to me. Like, I thoroughly enjoy watching Judge Cooper hold court, live streamed. I mean, I'm riveted. And I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be riveted by this because it's boring stuff, but because it's your team and because it's the fact that the ACC is so incompetent, and that, how not only are they incompetent, but they're also like brash about it. Like not only do we not know what we're doing, but we're also going to hide what we did and hide it till the very end. It makes me even more adamant to get those documents out in the open.
Without a doubt. And I'm going to go ahead, and it's snuck up on us. It's almost to an hour already. We've had such fun talking. I'm going to go ahead and throw the phone number up on the screen. If there's anything we've missed or anything you want to ask or talk about, now's the time to pick up that phone and call in to the Renegade Rundown. Also saw something. I guess the ACC has finally filed their motion to dismiss in South Carolina for the suit Clemson has filed against them. Again, Clemson actually did win the race to the courthouse. They didn't have to call a meeting and everything like we did publicly, so they were able to do that. So, but when you really break it down, South Carolina, the suit in North Carolina for Clemson, FSU in Leon County, their suit in North Carolina, and now we're starting to hear rumblings. Nothing has came out. I'm not here saying anything happened. I'll just say that I'm hearing rumblings about North Carolina getting active again. So again, nothing there, but it would not surprise me to see them join the fray, as we reported over and over again, that we really do believe like that could be just a Mach 1 speed run to settlements, to discovery, to things coming out, because they've got their hands on so many different emails and everything else. I'm sure, being North Carolina, being the center of that, being where Bledsoe went to school, I believe, all the different lawyers, like, it's just, say what you want to about whether it's out in the ocean and corruption or just regular old nepotism and good old boy systems. Like, if you get North Carolina on the side of FSU and the team leaving the conference, it's done. Blow the thing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think we've all known that it's going to be in the settlements. That's how this thing gets done earlier. I guess what I just thought is we would get more of the actual, like, the rule on discovery and like set a court date. And then we would get to maybe pushing the court date back and having different things for that. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to even get the most minimal of discovery and things to happen. But I guess that's why I'm not a lawyer and I don't understand how these things go. Because like you said, it takes years. And I'll bite my lip. And if y'all have anything else, go ahead.
Nah, I wish I had more information to give.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where the wheels turn slow, and something like there'll be something that will come out, in a few weeks or a month that will further crack the dam a little bit, right? But right now, like, it's the slowest trickle of all time. But we have to talk about it, right? I think somebody in the chat said, I'm so tired of this court case. Yawn.
We all are.
But and that's because we haven't had any real significant movement lately. So
yeah,
we need another we need another court date with Judge Cooper with the live stream, and that'll get everybody back in the fray.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess that's why I'm so down in the dumps. That's why I'm so hurt, just because knowing we're just getting this thing, when you add up the 7 days for the amended filing and the ACC gets their 20 days, it may be next year before we get back in the court. And you heard even him there sitting on the bench, kind of giving a hopeful, was like, yeah, my next date isn't till like September. So then you've got the football season, and I'm sure Florida State isn't going to be trying to, they'll try to push anything past that. Once you get past that August 15th date, you might as well go on to the next year, So yeah. Just everybody pray for their settlements and buckle up, and just, we may not get as much news out of that as we hoped as far as on our end, because once it's brought to court, we've submitted our stuff, it's just, it's a matter of time and waiting on shit to come through now. But R. Wilmer comes through with a question. He says, do you see any additions this late being able to contribute this fall? Hell yeah. I think if we can pick up Cam Riley, he will damn sure play 200-300 snaps for us at least if he comes in. And then if you can pick up one of the tackles, defensive tackle, be it Gavin Meyer or Javier Suggs, I don't know if they'll play that many, but probably 100, 150 snaps wouldn't be nothing crazy. 200 snaps for a third string defensive tackle. What do you guys
Love
think?
it. Yeah, I love it because the defensive tackle spot is a rotational depth piece. And so, when you say, are they going to be able to contribute? We're not talking about a starter there. We're talking about someone that can take some snaps and save the wear and tear on the starters' bodies. And that is a big deal in a 13-game season. And, as we see, the healthier you are at the end of the season makes all the difference in the world. Heaven forbid your quarterback goes down and you're not allowed to play for a playoff, though.
Yeah. No doubt. And I agree, Eric Limbaugh. I feel like we don't need much, but you have that extra linebacker. Pretty much set. That defense is going to be just absolutely nasty. I can't wait.
Yeah,
Definitely think he's the one that plays a lot more.
I mean, I wonder if he commits, will we have the Eeyores of the fan base kind of get calmed down? I mean, I've never seen such depressed people when you went 13-0. I don't get it.
Nah. They'll find something else. They'll just move their anger and angst over to something else. And we'll have to let them do. Some people just, I think I heard James Coleman say this recently. Some people just don't like being happy. They just don't like being happy. The world is not perfect. Teams are not perfect. You're not going to have 85, first rounders every year. You're just not. So every team is trying to, do what they need to do to put themselves in the best position to win, whatever that is. Jen, I know it bothers you because I see you on social media letting people have it. Like, people, 13-0. You're 13-0, and the team is probably going to be better next year. Yep. What else do you want?
Yeah, there's a certain group, there's a certain part of the fan base that it does not matter how good we're doing. There's always going to be something. There's always going to have to be something to complain about. And when you're locked in, when you've went to battle with all these people on the timeline and you're set in to this way, all you're doing is sitting there and looking for anything you can negative. And that at that point, you're just not a Florida State fan. Call it what you want. If you're constantly hoping for their downfall and hoping, a recruit doesn't come because you can be right, or this can happen or that can happen, like you said, you just want to be miserable. Everything in life is mindset. I'm not going to preach to everybody about they should be happy at their job working on air conditioning or whatever it may be. But if you're going to be a fan of Florida State, it's supposed to be your escape. It's supposed to be something fun. You're supposed to pull for your team. Yeah. If you can't be happy with 13-0 and even high school recruiting, if that's your thing, if you're all about blue chip ratio and high school recruiting, regardless, we went from 20 to 10, anywhere from 9 to 12, depending on which service. It's been massive jumps. We went from 30 to 40 to 60 to now working on 70. It's well documented. Even if you're not happy where we're at now, if you don't think this is the Mecca, we're still 100% better than we were last year. And it's just steady climbing. I think the big difference here and the disconnect is with the portal and this unlimited portal thing. We bring in 10 blue chips as guys and this year, and the majority of them aren't just finished products. Some of them are Lolo Hea. He's played a ton of snaps along with Tomiwa Durajaye. But a lot of these guys like Sean Murphy, Jalen Brown, they're just super talented second or third year guys, and people are wanting to say, oh, well, that means they suck because they don't have stats. It's no, these are all the same guys. These same people that are mad about high school recruiting, we literally got the same guys just 6 months later, but now they're no fucking good. Lose me with that. They're still damn good, and true freshmen just don't start at Alabama. And if they did, they wouldn't be hitting the portal at all. So yeah, I truly believe the talent on this team is far and away better than it's ever been. That doesn't mean it's going to be ready to perform altogether. Doesn't mean we have 10 draft picks like we did last year ready right at the beginning. But it's not for a lack of talent. That's for damn sure. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Can't wait to see this team just like come together and just prove everybody wrong. It's almost like they're treating last year as a fluke. Oh, it was just a fluke. It was a mercenary. It was a 1 year. They're going to find out this year isn't a fluke, and recruiting out of the portal is just like recruiting out of everywhere else. They tell on themselves when they say guys like Jordan Travis, like 2019 he was at Louisville. He was here for 3 years. What about 4 years? What? It's like, what the fuck does it matter that he came out of the portal? It don't mean nothing. We're the best in the game at the portal, one of the best at retainment, and now we're top 10 working on top 5 high school. Like, it's going to be a dynasty. It's coming. Just saddle up and get ready. Hang out with us, and we can watch the climb together.
Look, I think for that poor Miami guy, I don't know what his situation is. Maybe reading or seeing is hard. I really don't know. I don't know what that poor guy's situation is again on the Voice of College Football. I don't know. But what I will say, he could be, I don't know, he could be disabled. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't know everything I say is true, except for the things that are false. There we go. I got it. All right. So I just, for me, with Florida State, I feel like you said, Vince, the only thing that'll make these people happy, and I swear to God, they still be mad about it, is if Kirby Smart became the head coach at Florida State, and then they'd still find a way to bitch about it. That's all I would say. That's it.
This is not new, right? This is not new. It's just that everybody has an avenue now to voice their negativity, which is different. So, and I think it's okay, by the way. I think it's okay to be critical of the program when it warrants it. I think it's okay to be concerned about a position group but that's different than, bashing the program or bashing a particular coach or, it's a fine line there. So, but that's what fans do. So I try to throw a little logic in every now and then. If I'm not getting anywhere, then I move on.
Well, logic usually ruins the argument, right? So nobody likes logic when you're arguing.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just kind of trust the coaches. I think they've done a very good job, obviously. My God, we could be Colorado. Like, you could be Colorado right now. That's what you could be. Because all the same people, and by the way, all of the negative Nellies are the ones, by the way, y'all can go look at it. All negative Nellies are sitting there going, we should have hired Dion. Okay, guys, with your negative Nelly ass, where would we be? No health insurance, no, like the kids would all be gone. Look, and maybe we could win 3 games instead of 13. Is that what you want? You want a 10-game loss? Okay, cool.
Well, I don't know what I missed talking to the phone caller, but she's talking about us winning 3 games. Fuck no, we don't want that with whoever that was. But we do have a caller live on the whatever you want to call it, on the bat line. You're live with the Renegade Report. What do you got for us?
Yeah, sir. It's kind of not really a question, but I just wish everybody would chill out about DJU. Everybody's like, well, he did so poorly in the spring game. And I'm like, really, guys? The spring game is what your opponents take from your tape to study you. You don't want to give them everything. So they have to go to last year's tape and look how he does, but they don't have any tape on him running Norvell's offense. So, and it's aggravating how Clemson fans, DJU sucks. That's why y'all had to settle for him, and Cam Moore's better. And then we're getting second stuff from Clemson. I'm just like, whatever. It just really irritates me sometimes.
Without a doubt. It irritates us too, bud. We appreciate the call. If you had any questions or anything else before we let you go.
No, sir, that was it. I was just had to rant a little bit.
Absolutely, man. We feel your pain, and we
Thank
agree.
you.
DJU is going to prove a lot of folks wrong, man. Call back anytime. Go Noles.
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Hey.
I cut him off before he could say thank you. Sorry about that, man. But we really do.
The showcase is not meant to showcase. It's just not meant for that. It is a practice, and it is a practice only. The fact that we all got to go there and hang out and have a few drinks together and eat is like all I needed. Like, that's why I went there. I did not go to the spring showcase to learn anything like as a referendum on the upcoming season, especially as it pertains to DJ and the passing game. Our defense knew and has known what they've been seeing the same plays for a month. So of course the defense is going to look better in that scrimmage. So, if you have fans that are using the spring showcase as a reason to downplay DJ, that's just lack of intelligence.
Yep.
We've talked about it on here. They have a handful of plays, 10 plays, I think, 10 or 12 plays in total. Only half were passes. And of those half, I mean, it's the same little crossers here, post here. It's the same shit they've been seeing in practice. They knew everything about it. They're sitting on it. And our defensive back is the elite strength of this team. We're no deeper at any position. Matter of fact, if you want to feel better, just go back and look at the stats from the 2023 Garnet and Gold Spring Showcase with Jordan Travis. Extremely similar, about the same thing. Here's what people need to go back and look at. All them throws DJU made. Where did he throw the ball? He didn't put it into danger. He threw it where his guy could make a play and the other guys couldn't. He was extremely comfortable in the pocket. He didn't get happy feet. He was sliding around. He was stepping up when he needed to, stepping back when he needed to. He took off and ran when everybody was covered up. I mean, that touchdown ball he put on Darion Williamson, that should have been caught. That was a beautiful post right there to the front line of the end zone. Same thing on the fade to his shoulder that he did catch, the one he got. I think that's a play he got beat up on. Go back and look at Roydell Williams and what he looked like running through tiny gaps and things of that nature. Go look at Keziah Holmes and the forcefulness he played with after fumbling earlier. There's a lot to take from it, but it's not, you're not going to give, like Vince said, tape to another team out there. And it's supposed to be a wash. It's your best players on defense against your best players on offense. If either one kicked ass, it would not bode well. I mean, you have to go all the way back to Jameis Winston, back in 2013 when he had kind of just an amazing performance. But the reason that happened is Jimbo wasn't taking it that serious. It was a walk-on wide receiver that caught a corner lacking because he's like, what? He's not going to throw it over my head. There are times when it can look pretty and go put on a show. But even then, back then, Jimbo, he got that. He was part of it. He was one team versus the other. Mike Norvell could give two shits. He's doing what he can to have the best practice he can out there and not get anybody hurt. Like, camp's pretty much over. They have a little walkthrough over it. So, yeah, that's all it is. It's a glorified practice, like New to This says. So don't take anything out of that. If you want to know, what Florida State is looking like and where we're at everywhere, go read the reports on the final practice that they had. Go watch the tape from last year and just we're to the point in Norvell's tenure to where that this coaching staff is going to max out each one of these players. Like, what you're going to get. Guys don't just sit still at Florida State. They get better after year after year. Darian Jones, people didn't want to believe it back in 2022 when he came out in the preseason and said, I'm coming. Y'all going to learn about me. Well, he proved it. And then this year he took it to another level. Guys like Fintrell Cypress that everybody's going to let her down on, he's going to be unreal. Watch him explode. Watch what Azariah Thomas does. Watch Conrad Hussey. Just across the board. I couldn't be more excited. I wish there was a ton more new stuff to talk about. I know I'm kind of hitting some of the same old notes there. But if anybody has any questions, any calls, anything, now is the time. The phone number is 850-495-1906. Get us some calls in. Other than that, now's the time. Let's plug, before we forget, let's go ahead and plug Garnet and Old and whatever you've got going on, Vince, and then we'll plug Jen's new show.
Absolutely. By the way, George, thanks for inviting me on the show tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Garnet and Old is the show that my co-host Ryan and I do on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. on YouTube, also on X and other spots too. But as everybody knows, going on YouTube and liking and subscribing and all that is where the real magic happens. But we do a show every Thursday at 7. We have just rolled out a Discord server, just rolled out YouTube memberships recently as well. So we're doing some member only streams as well. And so, yeah, and one of the big things that's happening right now, and you may hear my dog in the background, is we are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. And you would think that's not too easy or not too hard to do, but it is. So we're trying to get to 2,000. And if we hit 2,000 subscribers by the time the new college football 25 game comes out in July, we are going to give away a video game console of your choice, along with a copy of the game to a lucky winner. So that's exciting because everybody's looking forward to that game. Everybody's looking forward to that game, including me.
I mean, let's get you to it. What if, I don't know. Let me see how I can win it. Let me see how I can maneuver my way around. No, I'm kidding.
That's right.
I don't play video games. I wouldn't be able to function with it. I wouldn't be able to use it.
But yeah, so that's the big thing that we've got going on right now. Thanks.
Awesome. That's amazing.
And then we had a new show that was debuting right here, right? What was that thing called? How'd that go?
Well, it was called the Renegade Roast, and it was awesome. It was so fun. Me and my brand new bestie, Tiny Hat CEO.
You gotta go back in the building.
Is that it? Oh, yeah. So we premiered last night, and it was so fun. We had such a great time. The chat was amazing. We enjoyed every minute of it. All we did was just kind of chit chat and talk shit, and it was fun. That's it. You're muted,
George.
As we get ready to end this show, there's an FSU space we get on all the time, and it's kind of like haphazard at the end, kind of at the end of the show. But they've got it labeled FSU Heating Up. If you get on Twitter after the show ends, you can jump on and join us over there. I'm going to jump over there and hang out with them for a little bit, but I don't know if they've got a take ready, if there's anything they're talking about, but you guys are live on the Renegade Rundown. What's the big story? What's everybody talking about in the space right now, guys?
Prodigal son returns, man. Omarion Cooper back home, man. Yeah, great championship, winning. That's all we care about here. We don't care about all the other shit everybody talking about. We care about winning in Tallahassee. 4 in a row in Miami. 4 in a row in Miami. That's another big topic. We'll see y'all in October.
We stay here in Miami on this space, but what do y'all think about Cam Riley before I let y'all go?
I like the addition. I think he gives us something that we don't have on the roster right now. A big, rangy linebacker, like, you know what I'm saying? Physically different than anybody we have on the roster, for sure.
And now in 21 personnel, 12 personnel, we get to play a solid 5-4-3 defense. 2 guys that can guard, tight ends, running backs, whoever, like, Nicholson and Riley. So that's going to help big time. And just like Lundy plug up the hole. So
that's a big thing. I didn't mention that earlier. I talked a lot about really like it being a big deal to have 3-4 solid guys that you could rotate. But yeah, if you want to get out there and run some 4-3, yeah, you've got 3 guys now that you could probably put on the field, I guess, between DJ Lundy, Sean Murphy. If you can get Cam Riley to come in here, and man, I mean, the young guys like Juice, what we keep hearing about him, and Blake Nicholson. It's a beautiful thing. I saw Blake Nicholson in that Southern Miss game in person, sitting there, me, Chris, and James. And dude, I forget who the wide receiver he covered or whatever, but just in that one play in that Southern Miss game, Blake Nicholson is going to be unreal in coverage. When you talk about the linebackers, I can't wait to see what he can do. But I appreciate you guys joining us. If y'all have anything to plug it up, plug the show, we're probably going to hop off and come hang out with you guys. But y'all always looking out, and I just wanted to give y'all a plug and let everybody know. If you're on Twitter, a lot of the people watching right now are on Twitter. Over 100 of y'all. Jump over to the FSU space and hang out with everybody.
Yeah, come talk some Florida State football, hang out with us.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see y'all soon. Boom. So you heard it here first. Come hang out with us on Twitter. And we will see you guys very soon. Anything before we get out of here? I know we plugged our shows. We'll be right back here Friday at 7 Eastern, unless something comes up. With it being slow, we've been moving the time around just for when the news happens. So we go a little late every once in a while. But also tomorrow, Wednesday, at the Voice of College Football. Thursday, Vince and the gang with Garnet and Old. Next Monday, the Renegade Roast will be back for week 2. Can't wait to do that. But again, I guess I'm through. Anything else, guys?
No, it's been great.
No, I'm
Thanks a lot,
good.
George. Good to see you, Jim.
Good to see you too. Thank you for joining. It was so fun.
Plenty of FSU football stuff. Unfortunately, Vanderpump Rules is ending for our girl Jen. So Tuesdays, she may be a little sad next Tuesday when she comes in here.
No, I've got a 3-part reunion, darling. I got a 3-part reunion, and the last part of the reunion airs on my birthday. I am going to be A-OK.
Facts. You heard it here first. All right. Well, we love you guys. It's all about the Noles, FSU, Florida State football. Keep it locked right here at the Renegade Report on YouTube, and we will see you guys Friday. Keep it locked in. We'll leave you out with a little bit of that guy, Trub Life, and the feature card there for the show, the Renegade Roasted. Come see us.
Hey, man. FSU works for everybody. Let go. First off, fuck Bama in the road tide. Fuck Tuscaloosa in every city that's close by. Bitch ass hillbilly redneck fans. Auburn almost caught y'all slacking like dress pants. Michigan trash, they ain't got a damn chance. Only Wolverine I respect is X-Man. Sheen ass coach got exposed, still in plays. Damn right I'm bitter, y'all sweeter than lemonade. Texas ain't shit to rave about. The Longhorns only good at a steakhouse. Had y'all like number 3, I was like, no way. Y'all lost to Oklahoma, which means y'all just okay. And Washington not important. Y'all be some ducks, acting like that's vital as an organ. If we played y'all, we kick that ass Chuck Norris. Y'all stay boring, only thing in that bitch is a forest. Let's set the record straight. Fuck your team if it ain't Florida State. 13-0, undefeated, damn, what more it take? Denied our presence, that should be a crime, they jealous. Probably get in if the Gators wasn't